I left out with 10 birds, come home with none, and I collected money for 8 3/4.
Yeah. Bravo, man. Bravo. Good job.
So
That's great.
I actually stopped at a restaurant, and he paid for the sample. He didn't even expect it free.
See? I tell you, man, it's just, some chefs they just don't understand. They don't get the concept that you're a small farmer, and others get it. They understand this means a lot to you. You worked hard to create this, and they're willing to pay you for the sample and any other birds you bring. So, yeah, man, hard work pays
But
off, don't it?
it does. I feel like there's a lot better results with just visiting people
Yeah.
versus I guess out of the 7 restaurants, I've only got one to respond with messaging. But if I go visit them, every one of them responds.
Yep. That's right. And that was your first visit, right? First visit to all these guys?
No, some of them was second. There
Okay.
was 2 was the first, and I think 4 was the second. I think I visited 6 yesterday. Uh, but I'm getting a lot of people asking for things that I don't offer, and I'm thinking me as a customer. If I'm the customer, I've got somebody that's wanting to sell me something and ask me to create something different to fit them in my life. Now, granted, if you're a big enough restaurant, you can do that, but you can also have difficulties with it all the same.
For example, what are they asking for?
Well, like the airline chicken cut.
Oh, okay.
There's 4 of the restaurants yesterday. That's what they wanted. They wanted that. They said, "Man, I can sell that all day long." They see that bone in there, and they just customers love the bone. Said, if I got a whole chicken, I've got to part it out, so I've got to allocate man hours to that. I can't. It takes longer to thaw out a whole chicken. It can't be quick. They said, but if you can get me these airline breasts, I go through 80 of them a week. We can buy them all day long. And price really isn't an issue. I think we could work because we want to deal with local people, but it's got to fit for us as well. They said, I understand that you would be left with all this dark meat, or we're left with all this dark meat that we don't have a use for because our customers, that ain't what they want.
What price did you give them for the airline breast?
I did not give them a price for the airline breast, but I did give them my price list. And they didn't really think that, they didn't act like there was an issue with it. I told them, it's 2 pounds. They said, well, we're used to 12-pound breast or 12-ounce breasts, and yours are 16. They're a little bigger. So yeah, they did give me some prices. They're going through Joyce Farms that does something very similar. I don't know if they pasture raise, but they can just get on there, click. They got it there within 2 or 3 days.
So you think they're okay with the price, as far as you can tell? They're good with buying 80 a week at that price.
I believe so. I believe that if I offer them a product that they currently use, I have my chance goes from 30% to 80 to 85% of closing a deal.
I mean, if it were me,
I believe I could get an increase of 50% of closing a deal.
yeah. If it were me, if someone's offering you that and they're willing to pay your price, then I would go for it. As long as it's covering your cost minimum, right? Ideally, it would completely cover the cost of a whole chicken plus a little extra to make a little profit on it. That way, if it takes you some time to move the legs, it's okay. You still made all your money back plus a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I would price it. So, how do you have it priced right now?
I've got it priced at just the breast alone for 2 breasts in a package, $18 a piece
And
for the package.
your cost is what on that?
Well, my cost on that was $22 a bird, but based on what your calculations are, I should be able to get my cost down to $15 a bird. So
Should, yeah.
I believe that I can work that out. It might not be good to start out that way. I don't know. That's the reason why I was thinking turn all the dark meat into chicken sausage.
People love chicken sausage. It's a hot seller. The problem is it's expensive to make because the processor has to part out the bird, then they have to debone the bird, then they have to grind the meat, then they have to add the flavorings and the ingredients, which you pay for, then they have to stuff the sausage and package it, and you pay for all that. So,
Okay, so you're thinking the price might not outweigh what it costs.
A lot of instances, like we used to do a lot of duck sausage, and duck, is the same size as chicken. We did a wine garlic duck sausage, and it sold like hotcakes. People loved it. But I was selling it for $18 a pound, which I thought was really high. I started like $10 a pound, then it was $12, $14, $16, $18 a pound because people were still buying it. And when I looked at my cost, it was costing me like $16 a pound to produce it because you only get like a pound and a half of meat off of a bird. And we were doing the breast. If you're only doing the legs, you're going to get even less. So the thing to do is talk to your processor, find out what it would cost you extra to debone the legs and thighs and to grind and make sausage. Find out what that cost is first per bird. And then I would take some of your legs, some of your bigger ones, your leg quarters, and debone them yourself and weigh it and see how much meat you get. Because you're going to sell your sausage by a pound. So the processor says it's going to be an extra $5 per bird to make sausage, right? And you get a pound of sausage and you think you can sell your sausage for $15, $16, then it's worth it, right? And then go for it, right? But if he tells you it's going to be $12 a pound to make sausage and you only get a half a pound of meat off your legs and thighs, then it doesn't make sense. So that's what you need to do. Figure out what the cost is, talk to your processor, and then find out exactly how much meat you get off the thigh and leg when it's off the bone, so you can have an idea if it's going to be profitable.
Okay.
But
I can do that. Sounds like the path I need to take.
Yeah. Before you dive in, though, just do your numbers, crunch your numbers, make sure it makes sense with the sausage. If not, it can still make sense to do this deal, and you just figure out other ways to sell your thighs and legs.
I think I have one restaurant that goes to about 200 thighs a week.
There you go. You'll find somebody who only wants the breasts, and then you'll find somebody who only wants the thighs. How you feeling?
I feel it was a good day yesterday. It was a good day.
Hot damn, man. I'm excited for you, man. I am excited because it takes, that first good sale, that first person believing you, buying for you. I mean, I remember the first guy who bought for me, first chef. I was like, oh my God, this guy believes in me. It was just, it wasn't a monumental purchase, but for me, it was the world, because it's like this guy. Well, I mean, and I see a path forward now. This works. This makes sense.
Right, and there's one guy that the price wasn't an issue. He was willing to buy it. He didn't even ask me price. He said, yeah, go ahead, give me 4. And he said, I'll go through about 4 months in the summer and 6 a month in the winter, whole birds. He does a lot of soup. That ain't big, but it's better than nothing. And he wrote me a check there on the spot. Another guy that I went that took way more of my samples last time than I really wanted him to, and I was kind of disgusted with it. Man, he just took me for $90 worth of chicken. I actually got to meet with the chef. He said it was presented to him fresh, never frozen, and the whole chicken, the employees set it on the smoker and cooked it all night, and he said it went crispy. He said, so I didn't get to try it. And I had 2 chicken there. I said, so do I get to invoice for these? He said, well, I thought these were samples. I said, well, to be fair, I gave you a sample about a month ago and give you more than a sample. I said, I really feel like, I'm stretching out to give you two more. And I said, I tell you what, how about you buy one and I give you one? He said, okay, we'll do that. And come back, and he had actually given me $40 for two birds instead of $28. So that's why I say 8 3/4. So he went out with me, and he's
Oh, that's awesome, Bryan. I mean, I'm happy for you, man. I'm excited. I told you it just takes time, but you gotta stick with it. Gotta have faith, and it works out. And that's what will happen. You'll find a chef that only wants breast. You'll find one that only wants thighs. Then you'll find one that wants all the feet. And next thing you know, you start building this list, right? And if you've got 10 or 15 chefs, and chef number one who only orders whole birds for soup bones is like, I'm good this month. I don't need any. No big deal. I got 12 more people I can call to sell these birds. You know what I mean? Because it's not
right,
always consistent. Sometimes they have certain specials. Oh, this month we're doing a big fish thing, so we're not buying any chicken. That's okay. You never want to have all your eggs in one basket. You got a list of 15 chefs that are buying from you on a semi-regular basis. You never go hungry. You know what I mean?
right.
So that's how it works, man. And I'm glad it's working for you, man. I'm glad you're able to find some people that see the value in your product. They're willing to pay your price, and you just keep doing that. Just keep marketing. And the thing is, never stop marketing, right? Because you'll always have
I
people.
I seen that in the Facebook training the other night.
Yeah,
I've been able to get on there. I ain't been able to follow them all the way through, but it makes sense. You got to get out and talk to people. I'm a strong believer now in actually face to face talking. Even if you don't know what you're doing, people just want conversation.
it's the strongest form. And that's what I tell people. You just got to go out there and beat the pavement and talk to people. Because if you're trying just to call them and text them, they're not going to answer you. They're not going to return your call. They don't know who you are. You just got to beat the pavement and talk to people. And there's something about making that face to face connection. And it works, and that's the cool thing about chefs. You only need a couple, right? A couple is a couple $1,000s, weekly or monthly, whatever ordering cycle they have. It only takes a handful of them to make your whole business, right? It's awesome.
Right.
So, but you never stop marketing. Like you mentioned, I've been doing this for a long time. This is 8 years in now, but I'm still marketing every day because people move, people forget about you, they move on. Your people are always going to be leaving your business, so to speak. Even restaurants that we've had a relationship for a long, long time. The chef leaves. Now there's a new executive chef. He doesn't know who I am. He's not buying my stuff. So you always want to be growing and marketing your business. The day you start a farm and you make a business is the day you start marketing and you never stop to keep that business going. So,
I really believe that I can, if we can get our pricing worked out with the Owensboro restaurants. I really believe that it can get me off up on my feet. Now, getting them the product they want, it's going to be a little harder, than the whole bird. But some of the things they run into, I got with chefs, and I know what it is. It's because of the culture we have and the people we have in our community. Even if it's just, our community small and you grow it out, we still have that stamina type of mindset. Kentucky. Uh, he said, I can offer him a half a bird. He said, or a quarter of a bird. He said, but it's still a big chicken. He said, and what happens is you get a couple that come in here instead of, I can sell them a $28 plate. I can divide this chicken up as many ways as I want, but it's still a big bite. And he said, they'll just buy one plate. He said, so instead of selling them two $28 plates, I've lost because I can sell this piece of chicken over here that I'm getting for this much, and I can sell them two plates. He said, so I can't make my proportions too big. He said, because I lose out. I lose an order. And that makes sense.
did you mention the breast instead of having two plates, you can make four plates out of it? Did you mention that to him? You can cut them in half.
Yep, I did. I said, well, you can, make them smaller. He said, then I got to have a guy in the kitchen doing that. He said, I'm dealing 80 breasts. Uh, he said that's almost full time. A guy just, prepping chicken for the cook.
Well, here's the thing, and you'll find this as you go along. In the beginning, you want, you're kind of desperate, right? You want to, not, I wouldn't, desperate's probably not the right term, but you're eager to get, sales and make it work for the chef, and you're willing to kind of bend over backwards and work with him and deliver what he wants, right? But what's going to happen,
Right,
Bryan, as you grow and you've got 2 chefs on your list, now you got 3, now you got 4, now you got 10, now you got 20. Now you've got more demand than you have product, and that'll happen sooner than you think. Your issue is not going to be sales; it's going to be scaling up. And when you have more demand for your product than you can deliver, now you can start being selective, right? You don't have to bend over backwards for the chef that only wants the airline breast and wants to pay you rock bottom price. Just an example. Now you can say, I'm only growing whole birds because that's easier for me, or I'm gonna sell my birds to this chef because he's gonna pay the price I want, and you can be selective, right? Because you have options. Um,
right.
so that's the beauty of it. As you start making more connections, more relationships, you're going to have more options, and it's going to get easier and better for you as it goes.
Getting the confidence to go out into the restaurants and talk to people. I can see where other products would be easier to sell. And, you don't have to stick with just one thing. Ideally, you stick with one thing to get your foot a hold, and you can grow from that. But there's plenty of room to grow with other items on the menu that the chef uses.
What was the best part about
It,
Wednesday for you?
I would say when I went in and seen that one guy, I wasn't really expecting anything, and I started telling him about my chicken, and he first wanted to push me off to the farmer's market and say not waste your time, and then he said, "Well, tell me a little bit about your chicken." I said, "Well, it's pasture raised, it's non-GMO food." I didn't get done talking, and he said, "What do you have in your bag?" I said, "I got a whole chicken." He said, "All right, I'll write you a check. Give me just a minute." So I didn't even get to finish my story, and he was done sold. He wanted to try it, and that was, to me, that was awesome because that's the first time it's happened. Most people are like, I don't know, let me think about it. Yeah, we'll try it. Yeah, we'll see what we can do, this and that. He didn't wait around. He just said he seen a good product and he wanted it. He hadn't even seen the chicken yet, but he just seen the paperwork and such that he wanted it.
And how did that make you feel?
Great. I told my wife it was somewhat humbling because here it's just it's a different feeling than I guess I've ever got because everybody's always beat me up on my price on most things, whether it's machine shop or farming or anything like that. Uh, Honey has been a really good seller. I get $15 a pound out of it, and people, they want it, they take it, they don't bat an eye at the price. But it was just different with that chef.
And how many conversations have we had about your price?
Oh, several.
You're second guessing me. You're like, Jeff, I think my price is too high. I think my price is too high.
That's all the feedback I've been getting. Everybody I talk to is just like, "You're crazy, dude. You're loco. Keep at it if you want, but you're crazy."
And what would you tell those people
But
now?
that's fine, maybe for you, but it's worth it to me. It's worth it to me to grow them just to have there at the house to eat because I know the meat's so much better. Just the experience of it all has been total. It's totally changed the way I view things.
Yeah, man. I'm happy for you. Had some success, little taste success, and now we're just going to keep going with it, man. We're just going to hit full steam. Keep doing the wholesale, and also really start tackling the direct to consumer, the doing the website and the subscription orders, getting you recurring revenue that way as well, because you can make a lot more margin that way. So we'll really start
Right.
working hard in
And
the website and the email marketing pretty hard here. Now that we've got a little bit of momentum. What was the worst thing about this process about talking to chefs and stuff like that for you?
I just not knowing,
Yeah,
basically not knowing what to expect, no experience. Most things in life, it's just me. If I don't know how to build something, I'll try to build it. Nobody's watching me. I ain't got no influence on anyone. It's just myself. But I guess maybe fear of being rejected, maybe.
yeah.
Like, uh, that would be the only thing I could tie it to potentially. Like rejecting my product, rejecting, just the whole ordeal. Like, dude, you're crazy. You're blowing smoke. Get out of here type of expectation because that's what I get around my hometown. So that would be the hardest part of it all. Before uh, I met you, I had attempted to call a restaurant or two on trying to sell rabbits. I never could get a phone call through, and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to interact with them. Didn't know what to expect. None of that. So the confidence of doing it wasn't, just being persistent. It was just like, well, it didn't work, so maybe that ain't the right thing to do. So I just stopped. But I actually, that's the guy who bought the sample from me was the guy I had been trying to call, a year or so ago.
Mm.
Uh, so he's actually the guy that, just up and bought it. So if I could have got a hold of him, it might would have worked. But going to visit was the best thing. I, just not knowing was a big deal. I grew up my whole life learning to work. And that's all I did was work, and I'm talking grunt work. My dad taught me well on that, but he didn't teach me how to go out and talk to customers on a selling level. I always did it on a service level in the machine shop. We go out and service your equipment. We make sure the parts are right to get them up and functioning, but really, in reality, it's the same thing. It's just a different product.
How long do you think you would have stuck with the farming thing had you not asked for help and done this all on your own?
Well, I don't know. What I probably would have done is been in the same situation I've been in for the last, I would say, 20 years. And I was watching one of these Facebook reels of a successful person, and it said the cycle people get in is they jump into business with lack of information and think this is going to be great. They're all up here. They're on top of the bell. And then whenever they get in there and they realize, man, this is tough. This is a lot harder than what I thought it was. Now you got very accurate information, and you're at the point like this just ain't working. It's too hard. So you jump out. So you jump on the next thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a cycle of that. So I would say that's probably what I would have done. Because anyone around me has ever hired somebody to do any coaching for any advice or anything like that. I have heard of some businesses hiring people for consulting, doing a consulting service, but we're talking multi-million-dollar businesses that would hire somebody to come in and consult. So they're only paying them, say they're paying them $50 an hour and they're in there for 3 months. Yeah, that's a chunk of change, but that person's there at that business every day. It's uh, hiring somebody over the internet is the craziest thing that would have ever been thought.
And what do you think about it now?
I think it's probably the way to step up in life.
You hit the nail on the head when you said everybody goes through that. Any kind of business or anything you start is you got stars in your eyes. You think it sounds so great. This is what I want to do. I'm committed. You get partway through it and things get hard and they get tough and you're not seeing success. And that's the kind of make or break point. People will decide, they either push through or most of them quit and move to something else. Or some people push through and they keep going, and maybe they see a little success, but they never quite get to where they want to be. And it's not their fault. It's not because, they're not smart, they're not hardworking. I mean, you can be the smartest person in the world, you can be the most hardworking person in the world and still not succeed. It's just because you haven't done this before. It's new, right? It's like trying to be the next Tiger Woods at golf, and you never played golf before. It's not going to happen. It's going to take you many years of practice, or someone to teach you that has the knowledge and skills, has been there before, that can teach you, and save you a lot of time and heartache in the process. So
Right. And if I had done this, say, with my rabbit business, I would say that was probably 5 years ago. I'd probably be sitting where I want to be sitting, real close to it right now. But just lack of information and lack of knowing how to get the information, I quit.
yeah,
We can keep doing this, but what we've done, it hasn't worked. I said, so I'm gonna jump out of it. I'm gonna turn around and jump back right back in it in 3 years, because this is what I want to do. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna waste more than $5,000. I said, so why not just waste the $5,000 and see what happens?
right.
So that's what I've done.
Yeah. Once you know the path, once you know what works and how to do it, well, then you just do a lot more of it, right? You do a lot more of it. Some things aren't scalable. Some things are very hard to scale. Like, I've tried to scale farmers markets. We've had sort of kind of success. I love farmers markets because I don't have to be there. I can hire people to do them. We can sell all our stuff direct to consumer at a high profit margin. We get cash that day. Love it. And we've done as many as 7 or 8 of them a week, but it's hard to scale. Even with people, people call out, the weather's bad, they aren't open year round. You're constantly having to hire new people, other people quit. It's kind of a grind. So some things are really hard to scale, and just doing more of it doesn't always work. But
Well, what about if you made your own farmer's market?
exactly. So that the alternative, what I've found after doing restaurants, restaurants is infinitely scalable. You can work with 1 billion restaurants, right? That's infinitely scalable. And the other thing that's infinitely scalable is your website. It's essentially a farmer's market, your own private farmer's market that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? And if you can figure out how to get people to your website and how to purchase from you, then you've got it made. It's hard to get, but the problem that I had was it was hard to get consistency. I was doing so much work on the website, the landing pages, and the emails. I just wasn't getting a lot of consistency. I would get a few orders here and there. But once we figure out the subscription piece, we'd offered subscriptions for a long time, but we never sold a lot of them. We just sell a few here and there, like different boxes, different specific items people get on subscription, get delivered every month. Nothing really took off. But then when we finally figured out, okay, a couple of things that were key to the subscription model that we are doing now it's taken off. And it will do the same for you. So I'm happy that things are going well for you, Bryan. Got a little taste of success.